The history of Albania, including the life and legacy of Skanderbeg, it's essential to rewind the clock to the ancient era before the Ottoman and Roman influences to truly appreciate the genesis of ancient Albania. The ancient Illyrians were a group of Indo-European tribes that inhabited the western part of the Balkans. These tribes, although distinct in some of their customs and traditions, shared a common linguistic and cultural heritage. The Illyrians were formidable warriors, often in conflict with their neighbors, including the ancient Greeks and later the Romans. One of the epic stories from this period comes from the life and reign of King Agron, an Illyrian king who ruled from 250 BC to 230 BC. Under Agron's leadership, the Illyrian kingdom reached its pinnacle of power. His dominion extended from the Neretva River to the south and the Shkumbin River to the north. A notable historical moment happened when Agron successfully waged a war against the island of Corcyra, modern-day Corfu, and defeated the Aetolian League, one of the potent Greek coalitions at the time. Agron's success in battle came in part because of his naval strength. The Illyrian navy was a dominant force in the Adriatic Sea, and its prowess was renowned throughout the ancient world. The Illyrians' craftiness in naval warfare and their strategic use of small, fast, and maneuverable ships often gave them an advantage over the more cumbersome galleys of their enemies. This made the Illyrians a thorn in the side of the ancient Greeks and later the Romans, who sought to dominate the Adriatic and the lucrative trade routes it offered. However, after King Agron's death, his wife Tuda took over the reign. Tuda continued Agron's aggressive military expansion, but her zeal would eventually lead to a confrontation with a rising power in the Mediterranean Rome. The First Illyrian War broke out between Tuda's forces and the Roman Republic around 229 BC. Tuda's passionate yet volatile leadership emboldened her forces, but they were ultimately no match for the organizational and military might of the Roman Republic. Despite fierce resistance, the Illyrians were defeated, marking the beginning of Roman influence over the Illyrian tribes and paving the way for the eventual Romanization of the region. The ancient Illyrians and their tumultuous history are inscribed into the rugged mountains and azure waters of modern-day Albania and the Western Balkans. Their legacy, a tapestry of formidable naval warriors, complex tribal societies, and resistance to formidable empires, laid the foundational narrative for the struggles and triumphs of the Albanian people in the subsequent epochs. The narrative of the Ottoman rule in Albania is painted with a mix of conquest, assimilation, and the indomitable spirit of the Albanian people who, despite centuries of foreign rule, managed to retain their distinct cultural identity. In the mid-15th century, following Skanderbeg's relentless yet eventually futile resistance, the rolling hills and lush landscapes of Albania fell under the rule of the formidable Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman administration imbued every aspect of Albanian society, yet in this subjugation were sown the seeds of an ardent nationalism that would burgeon centuries later. Amid the Timar system's institution and the embracing of Islam by a significant portion of the Albanian populace, an eclectic cultural mosaic emerged. Ottoman architectural marvels sprung up, juxtaposed against ancient Illyrian and Roman ruins, and the Adhan, Islamic call to prayer, resonated through the valleys, mingling with the echoes of Christian liturgies. Yet within this mosaic, the embers of the Albanian spirit, culture, and language smoldered and endured. While the Timar system saw many Albanians rise to prominence within the Ottoman ranks, it also sowed seeds of discontent among the dispossessed peasantry. This disparity, though oppressive, was instrumental in fostering a shared sense of identity and the collective memory of an ancient, free Albania. The 19th century brought the winds of change. The Tanzimat reforms, aimed at modernizing the Ottoman Empire and improving the status of its non-Muslim subjects, inadvertently fanned these smoldering embers into flames of nationalism. Albania, with its complex tapestry of religions, cultures, and languages, was ripe for a revival. Notably, the League of Prizren, formed in 1878, marked a pivotal moment. It was a coalition of Albanian leaders from different regions and faiths, united by the dream of an autonomous Albania. Though the League was eventually suppressed by the Ottomans, it imbued the populace with a vision of nationhood that transcended the boundaries set by foreign rulers. As the 20th century dawned and the Ottoman Empire teetered on the brink of disintegration, the Albanian spirit, unquelled for centuries, found its voice. Leaders like Ismail Kemali weren't just born from the struggle against Ottoman rule. They were the embodiment of an ancient Illyrian resilience, the epitome of an identity shaped by Roman, Byzantine, and Ottoman imprints, yet distinctively Albanian. In 1912, Echoing the hills where Skanderbeg once stood defiant, the Declaration of Albanian Independence was proclaimed. It was a moment both triumphant and tumultuous. The great powers of Europe, their eyes set on the spoils of the disintegrating Ottoman Empire, carved borders with little regard for ethnic and cultural boundaries. World War I saw Albania as a battleground, its territories claimed and occupied. Yet, in this crucible of conflict, the resilience that defined the Albanian narrative for centuries was forged anew. A nation, with roots stretching back to the ancient Illyrians, the enigmatic warriors of the Adriatic, stood on the threshold of a new era, its identity unyielding, its spirit as indomitable as the mountains that have silently borne witness to its epic tale of endurance and resurgence. The dawn of the 20th century unveiled a world where empires waned and nascent nations ascended from their ashes. The Balkan terrains, laced with ancient legacies and modern ambitions, bore witness to a seismic shift. Amidst this landscape, Albania, a land cradling a rich tapestry of history, emerged as a country reborn. In 1912, as the skeletal arms of the Ottoman Empire retreated, Ismail Kemali, a man of unwavering resolve and ardent nationalism, raised the flag of independence in Vlorë. A country, long ensnared in the grip of foreign dominion, breathed the air of freedom. However, this liberation was neither absolute nor unchallenged. Albania's infancy as an independent entity was cradled in a world at the brink of a great conflagration. Ethnic Albanians, fragmented and long subjected to foreign rule, faced the daunting task of weaving the threads of nationhood. The imprints of the Ottomans were indelible, and the cultural, religious, and societal fabrics were as intricate as they were divided. As World War I unrolled its dark carpet across Europe, Albania found itself amidst a storm. Its sovereignty was as young as it was delicate. Nations, with eyes widened by imperial appetites, looked towards this newly liberated land with intentions both overt and concealed. The Treaty of London, 1913, and subsequent international deliberations carved the borders of Albania with a scalpel that bore little regard for ethnic, cultural, or historical considerations. Kosovo, a land where the echoes of ancient Illyrian warriors and medieval heroes like Skanderbeg lingered, was annexed to the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. The landscape of Albania was a theater where foreign powers enacted their geopolitical dramas. Italian, Greek, and Yugoslav troops marched across Albanian terrains, each seeking to imprint their authority on a country yet to find its unyielding voice. Yet, amidst the tumult of war and the shadows of foreign occupation, the Albanian spirit endured. In the ravages of the Great War, where empires clashed and the maps of nations were redrawn, Albania's quest for a distinct identity and unyielding sovereignty was a flame unextinguished. Nationalism, an ethos long simmered amidst the oppression of the Ottomans and the tribulations of foreign dominions, emerged as the cornerstone. Leaders such as Fan Noli and Ahmet Zogu, though divided by ideologies and visions, were united in the unwavering pursuit of an Albania free, sovereign, and unfettered. The post-war treaties, negotiations, and international deliberations rendered Albania a plaything of greater powers. Yet, within its borders, amidst its mountains, valleys, and the eternal shores kissed by the Adriatic, the narrative of a nation unyielding was being authored. As the echoes of World War I faded and the world stepped into a new epoch, Albania, a country with legacies as ancient as the Illyrian tribes and as modern as the 1912 Declaration of Independence, stood as a testament to resilience. Borders were drawn, territories annexed, but the spirit of the Albanian people, their language, culture, and indomitable aspiration for sovereignty, remained an unwavering constant. The early 20th century was not just a period of geopolitical shifts for Albania. It was an epoch where, amidst the vestiges of empires and the storm of world wars, a nation, fragmented yet unbroken, emerged. A narrative, not just of territorial boundaries but of an enduring spirit, unquenchable, unfettered, reaching across the annals of time from the ancient Illyrian warriors to the modern Albanian state. In the wake of the turmoil of World War I and the tentative establishment of an independent Albania, the nation, still in its embryonic stages, teetered on the brink of political, social, and economic uncertainties. The 1920s unfurled, unveiling an Albania navigating the turbulent waters of newfound independence, marked by political instability and foreign intrigues. In this tumultuous landscape, Ahmet Zogu, a man of both audacious ambition and intricate political sagacity, rose to prominence. Initially appointed as prime minister, Zogu's ascent to power was as meteoric as it was contested. In 1928, The turbulent currents of Albanian politics witnessed the proclamation of the Albanian kingdom, with Zogu coronated as King Zog I. King Zog's reign was a juxtaposition of modernization efforts and enduring economic underdevelopment. He envisioned an Albania emerging from the shadows of Ottoman legacy and European contention, stepping into the light of modern nationhood. However, constrained by limited resources and a fragmented societal structure, the dream was aspirational. The monarchy, though symbolic of an autonomous Albania, was but a fragile construct in a nation where the roots of democracy and nationhood were still seeking fertile ground. Nevertheless, under King Zog, Albania tentatively extended its tendrils towards the vistas of modern statecraft. The arrival of the 1930s brought with it ominous winds from across the Adriatic. Benito Mussolini's Italy, resplendent in the fervor of fascism and imperial ambitions, cast a covetous gaze upon Albania. In the realm of geopolitical chess, Albania was a pawn, yet a strategically significant one. In 1939, the specter of war loomed large over Europe. Mussolini, keen to affirm his imperial credentials and seeking to establish dominance in the Balkans, orchestrated the invasion of Albania. King Zog I, facing overwhelming odds and an ill-prepared military, fled into exile. Albania, now an Italian protectorate, was ensnared in the throes of European conflict once more. Italian rule was a yoke, yet it was also an era where the indomitable spirit of the Albanian people once again bore witness to their enduring resilience. The grip of Italian dominion persisted until 1943, when the fall of Mussolini's regime precipitated the emergence of another occupying force, Nazi Germany. The pristine landscapes of Albania, from the serene shores of the Adriatic to the enigmatic mountains veiling ancient legacies, were now battlefields and territories of occupation. Yet, within this narrative of subjugation, a tale of extraordinary resistance was authored. The Albanian people, diverse in tribe, dialect, and religion, yet united in the face of foreign occupation, orchestrated a resistance as unyielding as the mountains cradling their land. World War II was not merely a period of occupation for Albania. It was an epoch where, amidst the oppressive shadows of fascist and Nazi rule, the seeds of post-war nationhood were sown. Resistance fighters, partisans, and ordinary citizens, each a thread in the intricate tapestry of Albanian identity, wove a narrative of defiance. As Europe emerged from the ruins of World War II, a new Albania, tempered in the crucible of occupation, resistance, and unyielding nationalism, awaited the dawn. The monarchy of King Zog I, the tumultuous era of Italian and German occupation, each was a chapter in the epic tale of a nation and a people, as ancient as the Illyrian tribes and as contemporary as the boundaries carved in the aftermath of world wars. The Albanian spirit, echoing the resilience of its ancestral warriors and the defiant cries of its modern sons and daughters, stood resilient, a testament to a legacy indomitable and a future yet unwritten. As the echoes of World War II faded and Europe arose from the ashes, carved and contoured by shifting alliances and the emergent Cold War, Albania teetered on the precipice of a new era. The land, veined with ancient legacies and the trials of foreign occupations, now faced an internal metamorphosis as profound as it was oppressive. Enver Hoxha, a man forged in the crucible of partisan warfare and imbued with the unyielding doctrines of Stalinist communism, ascended to the helm of Albania's destiny. The year 1944 saw the ejection of German forces, and in their wake, Hoxha's grip on power, bolstered by his communist partisans, became as unyielding as the Albanian mountains. The landscape of Albania, resplendent in its natural majesty, now bore the imprints of a totalitarian regime as rigid and impenetrable as the fortifications that would one day litter its terrains. Hoxha's reign, extending over 4 decades, was an era of isolation, oppression, but also an unyielding assertion of Albanian autonomy. In the early years of Hoxha's rule, Albania, like much of Eastern Europe, gravitated towards the orbit of the Soviet Union. Yet, the Albanian narrative, indelibly marked by centuries of foreign domination, was destined to resist encroachments upon its sovereignty, be it from the East or the West. The rupture with the Soviet Union in the 1960s, precipitated by ideological divergences and Hoxha's unyielding stance on Albanian autonomy, led to an unexpected alliance with Maoist China. Albania, a nation nestled in the heart of the Balkans, now bore the paradoxical distinction of being Europe's most isolated state, yet aligned with the world's most populous nation. Hoxha's regime, mirroring the ideological rigidity of its leader, instituted political purges reminiscent of the Stalinist era. Enemies of the state were a fluid category, yet the consequences of such a designation were brutally tangible. Prisons swelled, families were torn asunder, and the chilling echoes of executions imbued the serene Albanian nights with a sinister symphony of oppression. Economically, Albania embarked on a path of self-reliance and collectivization. The aspiration was autonomy, yet the reality manifested in widespread poverty, technological backwardness, and an economy as stifled as the political freedoms of the Albanian people. Yet, it was in the realm of religion where Hoxha's regime authored its most radical chapter. In 1967, Albania emerged as the world's first atheist state. Mosques, churches, and religious institutions, long the repositories of Albanian cultural and spiritual legacies, fell silent. A nation, whose history was as intertwined with religious diversity as it was with ethnic identity, now witnessed an unprecedented religious purging. However, amidst this narrative of oppression and isolation, Albania, resilient and unyielding, authored silent tales of progress. Education and healthcare, though marred by ideological indoctrination and resource constraints, experienced developmental strides. An Albanian populace, isolated yet unbroken, navigated the treacherous terrains of Hoxha's regime with a silent, indomitable spirit. Enver Hoxha's death in 1985 marked the end of an era as profound as it was oppressive. A nation, carved by ancient Illyrian legacies, Roman conquests, Ottoman rule, and the tumult of world wars, now stood at the threshold of a world transforming. The shadows of Hoxha's rule, though long and imposing, could not quench the eternal flame of the Albanian spirit, a spirit as resilient as the mountains cradling this ancient, enigmatic land. In this historical journey, Albania, isolated yet indomitable, emerged as a nation where the echoes of oppression could not silence the undying whispers of identity, culture, and an unwavering yearning for freedom. A testament to a people whose history is as tumultuous as it is triumphant. The fall of Enver Hoxha's monolithic regime marked not the culmination but the commencement of a new epoch of convulsion and transformation for Albania. The nation, emerging from the shadow of totalitarian rule, teetered on the precipice of democracy, yet the path ahead was fraught with the treacherous mines of political, economic, and societal upheaval. The late 1980s and early 1990s ushered in winds of change that whispered through every corner of Europe. The Iron Curtain, once imposing and impenetrable, was dissolving, and with it, the shackles of communism that had bound nations for decades. Albania, isolated yet observant, was not immune to these seismic shifts. The death of Hoxha left a vacuum, but also an opportunity. A populace, for decades silenced and oppressed, now found its voice amidst the ruins of communism. The streets of Tirana and other cities, once the theater of Hoxha's grandiose parades, now bore witness to protests, strikes, and a clamor for change as cacophonous as it was potent. 1992 marked a watershed moment. The indomitable edifice of communism, eroded by internal discontent and external pressures, crumbled. Albania, with its first multi-party elections, stepped into the daylight of democracy. Yet, this newfound freedom, as intoxicating as it was, brought with it the hangover of decades of oppression, economic backwardness, and societal fragmentation. The nation that emerged was akin to a patient awakening from a long coma, disoriented and vulnerable. The economic landscape was a minefield of stagnation and underdevelopment, compounded by the collapse of pyramid schemes that had promised prosperity but delivered ruin. The year 1997 is indelibly inscribed in the annals of modern Albanian history. The collapse of these schemes, akin to a financial earthquake, triggered unrest as pervasive as it was violent. A nation, reborn yet fragile, was on the brink of anarchy. The echoes of gunshots, the flames of torched institutions, and the anguished cries of a populace betrayed, painted a tapestry of a nation in tumult. Yet, amidst this chaos, the international community, cognizant of Albania's strategic significance and the peril of pervasive instability, intervened. Peacekeeping forces, bearing the banners of various nations, stepped onto Albanian soil, not as conquerors, but as stabilizers in a nation where the pendulum of change swung with dangerous volatility. The post-communist transition was not just a political and economic upheaval, it was a societal and cultural metamorphosis. A people, for decades cocooned in isolation and oppression, now grappled with the intoxicating yet perilous freedoms of democracy. The ideological dogmas of Hoxha's era gave way to a quest for identity, a journey towards the rediscovery of an Albania free, yet burdened by the legacies of its past. As the 1990s drew to a close, Albania, scarred yet standing, emerged as a testament to the resilience of a nation and a people as ancient as the Illyrian tribes and as contemporary as the boundaries carved in the aftermath of world wars and the collapse of communism. In this narrative of rebirth, every protest, every vote cast, every institution rebuilt, and every challenge overcome, authored a chapter in the unyielding tale of a nation not defined by its subjugation or oppression, but by its indomitable spirit and unyielding quest for freedom, identity, and prosperity amidst the tumultuous waves of history. As the reverberations of the tumultuous 1990s gave way to the dawn of a new millennium, Albania found itself amidst a transformative journey that was as profound as it was complex. A nation, with roots deeply embedded in the rich tapestry of Illyrian antiquity and a modern identity carved through Ottoman conquests, European intrigues, and communist isolation, now embarked on an odyssey towards democracy, integration, and development. The commencement of the 21st century painted a picture of Albania oscillating between the echoes of its enigmatic past and the untapped potential of its future. The fall of communism and the chaotic transition that ensued were now chapters of history, yet their shadows lingered, casting complex silhouettes upon the contemporary Albanian narrative. In 2008, Albania, seeking to carve its identity and assert its prominence on the international stage, extended its hand towards NATO, a gesture symbolic of a nation emerging from the chrysalis of isolation and stepping into the complex choreography of global alliances. NATO membership was not just a military alliance. It was an affirmation of Albania's European identity and its unwavering stride towards integration. Yet, the path to the European dream, adorned with the allure of prosperity, freedom, and integration, was punctuated by trials. The European Union, an entity symbolic of continental unity, yet meticulous in its enlargement, regarded Albania with both encouragement and scrutiny. Candidate status in 2014 marked a milestone, yet also unveiled the Herculean tasks ahead. Corruption, a specter woven into the fabric of Albanian politics and society, emerged as a formidable adversary. Organized crime, with tendrils extending beyond Albanian borders, was an ominous shadow. Political polarization, a reflection of a democracy young and volatile, threatened the cohesive stride towards European integration. Yet, amidst these trials, the indomitable Albanian spirit, a legacy of Illyrian warriors and the echoes of Skanderbeg's defiance, authored a narrative of resilience. The 21st century bore witness to an Albania where economic growth wasn't just a statistical reality, but a palpable transformation. Infrastructure, once a reflection of communist austerity and post-transition chaos, now mirrored the aspirations of a nation unfettered. Tourism, an industry as diverse as the Albanian landscapes, unveiled the nation's cultural, historical, and natural treasures to a world long oblivious to their existence. Foreign investments flowed, not as trickles but as affirming streams, emblematic of Albania's emergence from isolation to integration. Yet, the journey is an odyssey, not a sprint. Governance, the rule of law, and political stability, though strengthened, remain works in progress. Each election, legislative initiative, and judicial reform is a stone laid in the intricate mosaic of modern Albania. As Albania navigates the second decade of the 21st century, it does so with the wisdom of its historical trials and the audacity of its future aspirations. Each challenge overcome is a chapter authored in the enduring tale of a nation defined not by its subjugations or transitions, but by its unwavering spirit and its unyielding stride towards a destiny as majestic as the Albanian Alps, as serene as its Riviera, and as enigmatic as its ancient, echoing past. Contemporary Albania, a nation where the echoes of the ancient Illyrians intertwine with the modern rhythms of development, democracy, and integration, stands not as a country defined by its past, but as a nation unyielding, crafting its future with the indomitable spirit that has been its legacy through the annals of time. The story of Albania is not written solely in the annals of historical texts or the cold, factual expressions of encyclopedic entries. It is deeply inscribed in the rugged terrains of its mountains, the gentle flows of its rivers, the architectural wonders from various epochs, and the resilient spirit of its people. Albania is an ongoing narrative, a tale spun through the ages, where every stone, every echo of its folk songs, and every face tells a story of struggle, triumph, subjugation, and resurgence. From the enigmatic Illyrians, the ancient tribes that once dominated the Balkan landscapes, a distinct culture emerged. Rooted in the mystery of antiquity, they laid the foundation of an identity that has withstood Roman conquests, Byzantine intrigues, Ottoman dominions, and the turbulent tides of the 20th century. The echo of Skanderbeg's war horn, a call to arms against Ottoman invasion, still reverberates through the ages, a testament to an unyielding resistance that defines the Albanian character. The 20th century saw Albania evolve through a kaleidoscope of transformations. The monarchy of King Zod, the cold grip of Enver Hoxha's communism, the tumultuous transition to democracy in the 1990s, and the ongoing journey towards European integration, each is a chapter of a narrative rich with trials, tribulations, and triumphs. As Albania stepped into the 21st century, it was a nation reborn yet again, not from the ashes, but from the iron clasp of isolation and totalitarian rule. Every election held, every reform implemented, and every step towards integration into the global community is a testament to a nation that refuses to be defined by its past but is determined to shape its future. Today, Albania is a symphony of its historical legacies and future aspirations. The castles that dot its landscapes speak of medieval splendor, while the bunkers from Hoxha's era are silent reminders of a repressive past. Yet, amidst these historical echoes, a new Albania is emerging, one marked by vibrant cities, a burgeoning economy, and a youth population that looks ahead with optimism, rooted in the rich soil of their heritage but with eyes firmly set on the horizons of the future. Despite the challenges, the persistent shadows of corruption, the intricacies of political polarization, and the ongoing journey towards comprehensive reform, Albania's pursuit of EU membership is emblematic of its broader aspirations. It seeks not just economic prosperity and political stability but a reaffirmation of its place in the European family, a return to the continent from which its roots draw nourishment. Every stone of the ancient city of Butrint, every echo in the halls of the National Museum in Tirana, every folk song that drifts across the valleys, and every policy crafted in the halls of power is a thread in the intricate tapestry of Albania. A nation where history is not a static past but a living entity, shaping and shaped by the people who call this enigmatic land home. In conclusion, Albania is not a nation to be understood merely through the lens of historical events or political transformations. It is a living narrative, a dynamic tapestry woven through the ages, rich with the hues of ancient traditions, the somber tones of struggles, and the vibrant colors of ongoing renewal and aspiration. As Albania marches forward into the unfolding chapters of the 21st century, it carries with it the indomitable spirit of its ancestors, the wisdom born of diverse experiences, and the unwavering hope of a nation destined to carve its niche in the annals of European and world history.